Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Pep Talk. Again, these are little 10 to 15-minute quick hitters that we post on LinkedIn and we talk about fun little topics. Our last topic, we talked about the American Frozen Food Institute conference called AFICON. And obviously, we're getting into the spring. It's trade show season, so there's trade shows galore. And I wanted to talk with Nico today a little bit about Natural Products West that just happened in Anaheim. So, hey, Nico, how are you?
Hey Tom, how's it going?
Yeah,
A,
living the
a little
dream.
bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of everything. We attend this show. Sadly, Tom couldn't join us to the show, but I went with my coworker Sharon, who one day we're going to put her in the podcast so you can know her.
We might have to drag her kicking and screaming
Yes,
to get her on camera.
but no, it was it's it is an interesting show. It's very big. We didn't exhibit. We just walked the show. And some insights for next year, we might need to split out a little bit if we want to cover all the pavilions. It was so many booths, and like let's say like the main pavilion has gigantic booths between small, medium, and big ones of very different things that were not directly related to flexible packaging. So from time to time, you can find one. There was like a basement on, not a basement, like a sub level on the show that was very focused food oriented. Like there were people exhibiting, but mostly it feels more like
Food court?
a almost like a food court, like a buffet. So you get down and you want water, you want electrolytes, you want ice cream, you're like a hamster with a lot of things. So if if you are local on those shows, you can end up with a lot of bags full of protein bars, chocolates of all kinds, tea, coffees, and you need to learn to say no if you want to throw that away later. But there's a lot of things to try, a lot of novelties on different kind of products, on approach of eating healthy and drinking healthy. But also, I saw a lot of products that claim to be healthy that that they are not. It's like, okay, great marketing, but that is not the best. There was a place that they were giving a energetic drink that has, oh, it's the best one of the world, has turmeric, it has ginger, and so there's a lot of ingredients that that are good. But I learned from a doctor friend that if you mix the chemistry of the turmeric and the ginger, both you will get the flavor and the spicy, but they will kill each other, their benefits. So I was like, bullshit. I know what you're selling.
Hey, we need to beep that out, Jeff, in production. This guy's cursing in our podcast. Oh my goodness.
Sorry. But
I'm kidding.
we're not broadcasting on TV, and
No.
that's the benefit of this format.
Yeah, we're cable. We can say whatever we want. We
Yeah, and there was like a different. It was organizing like hot. There was a pavilion that was saying hot products, and I was like, okay, what is hot products means? So some of them were already trendy on social media, and maybe that's why they were hot products. Others were because I guess they were selling a lot, or maybe they pay more. But there was an entire pavilion that was saying hot products, and to those booths that I asked them, or the people who were attending, hey, why are you in the hot product section? They were not completely sure. Maybe I asked to the person who didn't know. But for flexible packaging, there was an entire pavilion that full of snacks of every kind that you were like, okay, this could work, this could work. Very different formats. A lot of people told me that they still bring in a lot of things from Asia when they can forecast properly. A lot of people share their headaches on what happened when you need to bring things from Asia, but also price also not also like a lot of time beats the headaches. So they prefer to continue doing that. Some of them wants to move domestic, or they're already doing a hybrid more mode on purchasing, like some things from Asia, some things domestic, some things near shore. So we feel like we were in the right spot. We told our future clients and prospects that we can offer production near shore. We do it domestically. We do it from Canada as well. We have a Vietnam facility, so we could be wherever the client wants us to be, and we can guide them on what could be the best solution. You can mix lead times with price and try to find the right balance. So I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of people offering the same, so you need to differentiate in any way you can. We at Freedom differentiate with service mostly with our concierge approach, but they need to know us better to know that we are saying is true. So it's a good place to get new connections. A lot of people.
That's awesome. And what about the brand sizes? Was it a lot of small brands, medium brands? Were there some major large retailers there, or was it almost all small and medium sized business?
There were the three of there were huge brands and on the main pavilion, and a lot of medium and a lot of new, and there was also an area for startups. So there's a lot of you could see a lot of digital printing. It's mainly on the startups and the small businesses. So it's good because they start with digital. We offer digital, and
Yep.
eventually, while the business grows, they can move to Flexo.
Yep. Yeah, especially on their more, let's say, prolific SKUs that, it's kind of like the 80-20 rule is 20% of your SKUs are going to be 80% of your business. So on those big runners, that's probably something we could do. You'd probably want to do Flexo and then maybe support some of your lower volume SKUs via digital. And we've helped our customers in the past. There's always concern like, well, is digital print going to look better than my Flexo print? But we can always constrain the digital press to basically match our Flexo press so that you can interchange them. But usually, yes, even with the advances in Flexo printing with servo motors, and Flexo printing has gotten so much better over the last 20 years. But digital is just, you're printing photographs there. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, another takeaway from the show, but in general, every show nowadays, they a lot of conversation goes around sustainability. They ask a lot, "What do you have for sustainability?" We tell them we have compostable solutions, which is more expensive, but if you have that in your budget, you can do it. We have ready to recycle bags. There's a lot of misinformation. A lot of customers I saw that they use uh, BOPP metallized just because they have to use it always, but for some products and that was part of the conversation with Sharon. I will tell them that with EDOH, they might do they might have enough barrier to do a ready to recycle bag and be more sustainable. So it depends on the barrier needs and their shelf life. But a lot of people were asking about what do you have on sustainability. So compostable, they like it, but they don't have the budget. So okay, let's do ready to recycle.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Nico, because like the quintessential snack web, right? Like room temperature chips, but whatever is usually like a metallized heat sealable polypropylene to a clear polypropylene. That is your snack web is a clear to metallized polypropylene. But to your point, that's a single use plastic all day long because we don't have a stream in the United States for flexible polypropylene. Um, so yeah, if you can replicate the moisture and oxygen barrier with ethyl vinyl alcohol and PE, and then we can make a pure PE snack web that would have the same shelf life, but then be recyclable. So if you are a small or medium sized company selling snacks and you want to get into sustainable packaging, that's probably the best way. My only concern with that is, I guess, the opacity, right? Because the metallized is creating 100% opacity. So if you're doing something with chips or something like that where the UV light can create spoilage. That's why potato chips, by the way, are always in metallized because the UV light will start to make the chips go bad. Then we just have to look in, laying down a ton of white ink to make that package opaque.
But for example, let's say granolas and protein bars, and there was a lot of things that I don't know if it's completely necessary. Maybe for the shelf life, because they want to have it for more time. But at the end, they have to brands need to compromise a little bit here and a little bit there. That maybe they need to compromise a little bit of shelf life in order to have a more sustainable packaging. It's not you cannot have it all, or if you want to have it all, you have to pay more. Like let's say compostable, not even with
Yeah.
compostable because they have to pay. They have to sacrifice also a little bit of shelf life. So
Yep. Yeah, you're right. When you're looking at sustainable versus safety versus price of packaging, you're going to have to look at it and probably make trade-offs and find like let's say it's a triangle. You're like, where do I want to sit on this triangle of price and sustainability and then like performance, right? As far as shelf life, like where do I want to because you can't have it all, right? So you're just going to have to pick your poison, and that's kind of the stuff that we really want to help our customers make those decisions on. And it's really interesting how each brand owner is approaching sustainability differently. Like there's some that are like, I'm going to wait until the government forces my hand to do anything, and I'm just going to keep it as is and try to get as most cost effective pricing as possible. And then there's some that are actually, I feel like, putting sustainability above regulatory safety, which is really interesting, and you should not do that. But we're getting calls like, hey, I want to do a recyclable steam bag for like broccoli or cauliflower, but I want to put 25% post consumer resin in my recycled steam. And I'm like, post consumer resin means that it's been out in the stream and come back. So we don't really know what could possibly be in the contaminants of that PCR. So you can put PCR and bury it for something shelf stable, but it's certainly quite another thing to take something with PCR and put it into your microwave for 5 or 6 minute cook time and then hope that nothing is contaminated in that PCR resin that could migrate into your content. So it's just like, well, kind of
Yeah,
feel like steam. I'm sorry.
and that exactly thing that you're saying, you were giving that advice to a customer that they always ask, on what can we do on sustainability, and you approach that specific point like, okay, it will be more sustainable, but at the end there's a lot of risk of contamination. So freedom will always try to guide you for what is best for us. Yes, we can sell you this, and then go and find out what to do with the liability in case you have some. But we know from the chemistry and from the production point of view that that could be a big trouble on food safety. There's not a proof. There's not a test that you can. There is a test. I guess there's plenty of tests where you can measure that exactly, but it's difficult to measure it with one bag or with. At some point, is you don't that it's not completely safe to do it, so it's better to avoid those kind of PCR content or this kind of
Yeah,
steam bags, at least because you're going to put it to high temperature in the microwave, so it's going to mix up a little bit everything inside.
exactly. And so PCR resin providers, if you go out there and you want to buy post-consumer resin, they have a food grade post-consumer resin, but it's for shelf stable products. It is not designed to be boiled in the bag or heat. And so you can't even trial that, Nico, right? Because we could make some trial rolls and spin them up, and maybe that batch of PCR doesn't have contaminants that we're worried about migrating into the food, but there's no guarantee that the next batch of PCR might have more contaminants in it. So there's really no way for us to test that in a testing environment and guarantee that the test results are going to be replicated in all future production results because the PCR resin is coming from all over the place. It's not virgin resin. So, we try to look at things and be like, I appreciate your love and dedication to sustainability, but here's what we recommend for you: going all PE, and it's store drop off, but we would leave the PCR resin part out of it. Now, if it's just a standard, pillow bag for 32 ounce or 64 ounce, all day long, we'll do PCR. As
Yeah.
long as it's not getting heated up in the bag or boiled in the bag, I feel pretty confident with it. But yeah,
Yeah, so main takeaway from the show is a show that is worth to attend or exhibit. The mind is where it should be, like a more organic approach, at least on what you're going to eat, more natural, more healthy. But I think all those brands need to continue focus on the organic way of presenting that will be packaging. So keep the focus of sustainability for everyone's safety, because if you're moving your mind to something that is healthy for your body, it's also focus on something that is healthy for the planet. So great
yep.
show. We will be there next year for sure.
Yeah, and I will be there next year for sure. I'm sorry I missed it this year and sent you guys out on your own, but you're a big boy. You know what you're doing. So, Natural Products West, definitely if you're a digital label converter or a digital flex pack converter or a flex or just a standard, Flexo or Gravure flex pack converter, it's probably a show worth stopping by. Tons of different brand owners. And obviously, as they're testing different packaging techniques and sustainability, there's lots of opportunity there as SKU turnover will be pretty heavy. So thank you, Nico, for the rundown on Natural Products West. And we will see you guys. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Pep Talk.
See you guys. Bye bye.